Se karuna kori, oh hey. Diya parachaya shoro he amai tomara charana dori. Chaya bhega dhomi, chaya dosha shodhi, chaya guna deho dase. Chaya satsanga, deho he amare boshashi sange rashe. Ekaki amar nahi pai bhalo harinama sankirtane. Tumi kripa kori shraddha bindu diya deha Krishna nama dhane. Krishna se tomar Krishna dite paro tomara shakati ache. Amito kanga Krishna Krishna boli daitava pache pache. Oh hey Vaishnava Thakur Doyara Sagara Dasa karuna kori. Jai Vaishnav Thakur, Vaishnav Thakur, Vaishnav Thakur, Jai Vaishnav Thakur. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Jai Prabhupada. Jayom Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parirajakacharya Sto Tadastashi Shrimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayom Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parirajakacharya Sto Tadastashi Shrimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Ananta Kodi Vaishnavini Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Zagaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gogopinath Sham Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Sri Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Sri Mayapur Navadip Dham ki jai, Sri Jagannath Puri Dham ki jai, Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi ki jai, Jamuna Devi Ganga Devi ki jai, Sambeta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. So let's set up because we're going to have a short broadcast with some of the leaders from North America, and then we'll have the Srimad Bhagavatam class.
Maharaj, we are already on the Zoom call with CBC right now.
Okay.
When you are speaking, should we be unmuting?
Hare Krishna Vrinda Devi, can you hear us?
No, not yet.
Not yet, okay.
Just 2 minutes. We'll be there.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Everyone,
Recording in progress.
thank you all very much for joining. We are going to start exactly on time. We already have a great number of participants, and thank you. So welcome to the ISKCON North American Leadership Conference. My name is Madan Gopal Das. I'm your host for today's online gathering. So before we begin, let us take a moment for an invocation. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Sarasvate Deve Gauramani Pracharine Nirvishni Shunyavadi Paschat Deshtarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. My respects to all of you, esteemed leaders who have joined here. Working very hard, serving Srila Prabhupada's divine mission in North America, the very birthplace of ISKCON. With over 140 registrants, this is one of our largest gatherings of North American leaders to date. And it's so heartwarming to see so many of the next generation and young devotees taking up the responsibility, the weight of carrying Krishna consciousness into the future. So today, we stand at a precipice in history. And depending on who you talk to, the future of ISKCON in the West is either very bright or very bleak. It is up to us, leaders, to work together. All of us collectively will decide whether it'll be the former or the latter. There comes a time in all our lives when we are called upon to do something that will alter the course of history in a meaningful way. I believe this is that time. Now, I'm not just saying this because it sounds nice and inspiring to say at a public gathering. No. I'm asking you to look around the ISKCON world in North America. So many new devotees taking up the process. Many new groups being formed. Numerous new temples, big and small, and centers opening in just the past few years. We are poised now for a giant leap forward, like Hanuman preparing to leap across the ocean. The time is ripe and the moment is now. Are we ready for a quantum leap in growth, a dramatic improvement in the way we do things, with intelligence and organization Srila Prabhupada wanted? So that is what we are gathered here this weekend to do. So a little bit about me. My name is Madan Gopal Das. I joined ISKCON in 1991 in Nairobi, Kenya. And today, under Anuttama Prabhu, I serve as a zonal supervisor for a number of temples. I'm a member of the NARGB. You'll hear a little bit about that later on. And North American co-director of ISKCON Communications, along with my esteemed colleague, Kumari Kunti Devi, who is also the conference coordinator today. And locally, I'm serving as the Education and Temple Management Director at ISKCON of New Jersey in Towako. And I live in Parsippany, New Jersey with my wife, Mansi Ganga Devi Dasi, and my son, Madhava. So, now that we've set the tone for the conference, let's dive in. As of 2024, we have registered 106 ISKCON temples and preaching centers across North America. So today's gathering is a representation of this continent. I want to thank you for taking out your time this a whole weekend from your schedules. It's very busy, and your responsibilities to be here. This is our annual opportunity to speak to each other about our shared vision, our challenges, our successes. So just a quick profile of the registrations. We have about 55% of us here are temple presidents or temple representatives. About 40% are ministry leaders and others are community leaders. We also have present today our national leadership of North America with the members of the regional governing body, the RGB, zonal supervisors, and our 5 zones, the GBC members, Malati Devidasi, Bhakti Mark Swami, Anuttama Prabhu unfortunately couldn't make it, Bir Krishna Swami, and Badrinarayan Swami. We would also like to welcome Vaisesika, Dasa Adhikari Prabhu, and Chandrasekhar Swami to the conference. We want to recognize Chandrasekhar Swami for his recent stalwart efforts in helping to bring back ISKCON Long Island, New York, under the ISKCON banner again. So thank you all and welcome. So over these 2 days, we will look at the best practices around North America, share insights, our shared challenges, specifically during the Temple President Open Forum, and a vision for the future of North America, briefly today, and a lot more in-depth tomorrow during the Sunday session. So next, I'll request Kumari Kunti Devidasi, the conference coordinator, to share some housekeeping announcements, and then we'll dive right into today's first presentation. Thank you, Kumari Kunti. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming. I just have some simple housekeeping. As always, we need to make sure. Okay, here we are. So, of course, everyone has been on Zoom a million times, but this is just a reminder for those who have not in the last year. Please keep yourself on mute. We did mute you on arrival. There are multiple ways to interact with others. You can use the chat. You can also use reactions throughout. The chat will be used in question time. We will take questions from there when available. We have a lot of opportunity for Q&A throughout these 2 days. Please put your questions in the chat. It saves us from multiple people asking the same question sometimes, and sometimes we can answer them there. Additionally, if you haven't already, next slide, please ensure your name is changed, your devotional name as we know you, and your location, your ministry, however we need to identify you is the best way for us to find you throughout the 2 days in the screens. And then, of course, some Vaishnava etiquette. We want to make sure that everyone is allowed to speak and be heard and share in confidence and respectfully. Another couple notes I've noticed from the past, please, when we enter breakout rooms, which we will have 1 today and a few tomorrow, ensure you only leave the room. There's a very clear room leaving and then the conference. So please take your time to leave and make sure you only leave the room, because coming back in sometimes is difficult. I will take the role of keeping timing throughout the conference because I want to ensure we start on time, leave on time, and everyone feels trusted because we follow our timing. So I will be the one kind of writing in chats to individuals, time keeping us on schedule. So that's my role. Please forgive me in advance, but that's what I'll be doing throughout this conference. So thank you all. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Kumari Kunti. So our first session features our keynote speaker, His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu. He'll be sharing with us this morning some valuable insights from the Bhakti Community Initiative. Vaisesika Prabhu is a disciple of His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and he has been engaged in this service of book distribution since he joined in 1973. He is the Global Duty Officer, the GDO, of book distribution. He's also the temple president of ISKCON Silicon Valley, and he travels globally with his wife Nirakula Devi Dasi. He's also an initiating spiritual master in ISKCON. He's a veteran monk, author, and spiritual guide who traveled throughout the world, sharing knowledge gained from 4 decades of Bhakti Yoga practice and dedication to spiritual entrepreneurialism. Vaisesika Prabhu is a regular guest speaker at Stanford University and large corporations like Intel, Google, Salesforce. So please join me in welcoming Vaisesika Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Welcome, Prabhu.
Thank you. I offer my respectful obeisances to all the esteemed leaders who have joined the Zoom call today, and to everyone who's present here in the live studio audience at ISKCON of Silicon Valley. I offer my respectful obeisances to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who very deliberately came to the West, Paschatya Deshadharane, to give an opportunity to those who are estranged from any idea of sanity or connection to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We thank Him millions of times and millions of times more. Today, we've been asked to give a brief introduction to our so-called Bhakti community, based on the idea that our outreach has to also have continuance. That is, when we meet people who are interested in Krishna consciousness, they should be given full facility, as all of us were, by Srila Prabhupada, to take a step-by-step approach to cultivating Krishna consciousness. Near my home in Burlingame, California, there's a place along the coast called Maury Point, where I sometimes walk, and I noticed that the government had a project there to save the red-legged frog. Apparently one of the links in the ecological chain that makes a difference, and it almost had gone extinct. And they spent tens of millions of dollars to recreate the habitat for that frog, little ponds and all kinds of flora and fauna. And lo and behold, it came back. Gave me the idea that, and it's not a new idea, but it's an idea that those who are good at cultivating new people have, and that is there has to be a special environment in order for people to be able to get the idea of Krishna consciousness, be introduced in a welcoming environment, and be able to take a step-by-step approach. So that's the Bhakti community. Years ago, we began working on paper to design a so-called user's journey. I worked with His Grace Jai Madhava Prabhu, who is very enthusiastic, along with his wife, Bhavani Bhakti, to cultivate new people, and who's also, both of them, expert at providing such an environment. So, for the cause of brevity, we'll move along now, and I'll pass on the spotlight to Jai Madhava Prabhu, who will talk about the user's journey, and then introduce you to a little bit to some of the members of the Bhakti community who have come here today.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj, for this opportunity, and thank you to the North American GBC team for giving us this opportunity. I am very excited to share the progress we have made in sharing Krishna consciousness with newcomers, again focused on, as Maharaj said, creating a habitat for the Western newcomers. And I pray and hope that this will inspire you to bring it closer to your temple as well. So with that, we'll get started with the presentation. So Bhakti community is dedicated to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, because of whom we all are here as a family today, sharing Krishna consciousness with others. Next slide. Yeah, and the principle with which Bhakti community operates is the same principle which Prabhupada had. In Bhagavad Gita, he writes, if even one man becomes a pure devotee of the Lord, we shall consider our attempt a success. So we have the same principles that we follow. And what is the purpose of Bhakti community? The purpose of Bhakti community, our priority is not to give books or to ask newcomers to chant mantras or ask them to join a class or ask them to give donations or ask them to come and do any service or even ask them to come to temple. None of them is a priority. The only priority we have is to give newcomers association of Vaishnavas and shower care and affection on them. Once we do that, the Cheto Darpanam Arjanam process starts, and gradually newcomers do what Vaishnavas do. Vaishnavas read books, newcomers also start reading books, Vaishnavas chant, newcomers also chant, they also start attending classes, they also start donating, they also start participate in services, and they also come to temple. So that is a natural process of association. So the mood with which Bhakti community operates is take care of the heart, mind and services will follow. So we just focus on sharing the care and affection with newcomers in association of Vaishnavas. So that's the key purpose. Yeah. So what we do here is we tag team. Whenever we work very closely with our book distribution team. So when our book distribution team goes out and give out books, they also share Bhakti community, a community, so that the newcomer can actually read books, ask questions, get encouraged, and make progress. And how do we do that? Along with books, we also give them bookmarks or other cards. For example, you can see the Bhakti community bookmarks, which we have, which lists all the programs we have, weekly program on Bhakti community, as well as it has a brief description of Maha Mantra in case the book distributor would like to explain it to the newcomer. So we have several programs throughout the week, both online as well as in person. On Monday, we have Bhakti On, where various senior leaders, devotees lead the program and explain Krishna consciousness in a very simplified way, which can be absorbed by the newcomer. Then on Thursdays, we have Bhakti Circle, which is a systematic 32-week program where we gradually help them progress and understand Krishna consciousness. On Fridays, we have Success Sadhana, which is focused on sharing Krishna consciousness with the corporate world. And on Sundays, we have Women's Circle, where women get together and learn about Krishna consciousness. In addition, we also have Mantra Zone, which is all the other programs are online, but Mantra Zone is an in-person program where, in addition to mantra music and meditation, we also share short wisdom in a personal setting so that we can form some bonds. And once the newcomers have gone through the process, when the time is right, we bring them to temple so that they are culturally accustomed, and when they come to temple, we provide them personal guidance as they make, to explain them everything which happens in temple. So that we have seen this user's journey has been very helpful and successful. In addition, we also have women's retreat as well. So we conducted last weekend where we talk about different, we allow the newcomers an immersive experience in Bhakti Yoga, for example, Panchanga Bhakti or other aspects, where every aspects of Bhakti is introduced to them, and they have, we have received very positive feedback through this retreat. Once this is explained by the newcomers, telling them in case they would like, they can join a free online community or in-person experience if they would like. And if they agree, then they sign up right then and there, or they come back and then they sign up either going through website, bhaktikommunity.com, which can be accessed both through web as well as mobile application. So what I want to share is now, after having given the books and given the bookmarks and having the newcomer signed up for Bhakti community, when they come to Bhakti community, what the experience is like. So we have a very short clip of video which shows what a newcomer, when they come to Bhakti community, experiences. So please, if you could play the video.
View that you have behind. Where are you, darling?
Montana.
Montana.
Yeah, we are at Montana State University. Hello everyone, nice to see everyone.
I would like to introduce Rosa. She is joining for the first time.
Rosa, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, Kamalakshi, I would. My name is Rosalba Estrada Mendoza, and I saw Kamalakshi just sitting there. And when I saw the sign, free books of meditation, it was crazy, but I felt like the spirit of like, the energy of how I felt like the guidance of like me learning, like, how do I take things slow? How do I take a moment to breathe? Because I felt like the universe was telling me, like, this is your time, like, just check it out. And I didn't know that Kamalakshi openly welcomed me and just showing me and explaining to me the books. And so I'm so excited to hear from everyone and just willing to learn.
Welcome, Rosalba. Great to have you here.
And I also I would like to invite Emmett and welcome Emmett. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi. I'm Emmett. I go to the University of Eastern Washington, and I don't know. I've sort of I can agree with I can agree with the spiritual journey. I've been trying to find myself, really look individually inside myself in a sort of a spiritual sense, and I saw your guys' booth outside of one of our main buildings. And I was a little bit reluctant. I walked inside and I got some lunch. I was like, you know what? I think this is what I need. This is something that will, benefit myself in my journey. And yeah, no, I'm very, very grateful. And I'm very excited to hear everybody's experiences and make this an experience for myself and really learn and expand my mind. So thank you.
Welcome, Hobin, brother. Thank you so much. We continuously are, in touch, and we on calls. We read sometimes. He's become very dear friend and brother to me. Welcome, Hobin, and please, brother, if you like, feel free to introduce yourself. We'd love to.
Hi Krishna, hi Kamala. So good to see you guys. Yeah, I'm Hobin. My name is Hobin Chargaloff, and I was brought, I believe, to Krishna and Kamala. It was almost like they called me. I saw a sign that said free yoga. Well, what I thought said free yoga, but it actually said free yoga and meditation books. And so I said, oh, that's even better than free yoga. So I kindly asked them how many I could take, and they were super generous. So I asked if I could take them all just so that I could understand all the Vedic knowledge. And from here, I was introduced to the Gita. And as Krishna says, we are, reading together and attempting to understand it from the lens of our own lives in reflection. So again, I'm very grateful for the both of you guys, and thank you for bringing me into this space.
I mean, those introductions were so fantastic. I don't know what else to say. I'm speechless. Wherever we come together to elevate the conversation and make a higher vibration, it does water the root of the tree everywhere.
If you can go to the next slide, please.
View that you have behind. Where are you, darling?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Sorry. So that's how newcomers are welcomed, and they join the online community. And after that, they go through various classes, both online as well as in person. They have buddies assigned to them who help them answer questions, encourage them to join, etc. And we do have a few of them who have gone through that journey, and they are here today. So we'd like them to share their reflections, what the journey has been like, what the experience is like, and how they reflect on being in Krishna consciousness. I will, if you can stop the sharing, and I will let Shirley please go ahead and yeah, please come here.
Hi, my name is Shirley, and I was born and raised in the Bay Area. I joined Bhakti in 2019. I'm a caregiver, and I have to say Bhakti has saved my life. I was at the point where I was going to stop looking for God, because God has been something I've been looking for my whole life. And I found God with Bhakti. I know he has personality. I know he loved me. I know he is wonderful. Okay. And he changed my life. I learned so much from Bhakti every step of the way in regards to caring for people, watching people die, having compassion. There's just so much that you can take from Bhakti and apply it in your own home, in your own life, in your home too also. Yeah, I can't say enough. You know, I've been here since 2019. I'm not leaving. I love Bhakti. I love Krishna.
Now we have Vicky, who would share her experience in this journey.
Hare Krishna, please accept my respectful obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to North America, RGB. My name is Vicky. I was born in China and grew up in the Bay Area, and I'm very blessed to call ISKCON Silicon Valley home. I was introduced to Bhakti community by Katha Karnavadas. During the quarantine of the pandemic, he left a Bhagavad Gita at our door, and after we read it, he invited us to Bhakti community. I joined for about 7 months and then had to leave for a work trip for about half a year, and still I was able to join from abroad. Every time that I dial in, I see people from all over the world, in Silicon Valley, Australia, London, India. It's a very vibrant online home for so many around the world. As for my future in Krishna consciousness, due to the mercy of Gurudev and Guru Ma, I believe it is limitless, and due to the mercy and shelter of the devotees, I can grow more and more into myself and awaken to my true purpose in service. But most importantly, I'm beyond simply joyful to just be here now and grateful that Krishna, by his mercy, constantly pulls me into remembrance through association of devotees, and I have an attempt to know and love him. Hare Krishna.
Now we have Lije, who will share her experience.
Hare Krishna. My name is Li Jie, and I was born in China and spent most of my life, 20 years in there until I moved to the United States. So I came to know the Bhakti community from the Stanford Conscious Living Society, and I started from the guidance of a few devotees there, and then it's around 2019. And I remember Vaisesika Prabhu went to Stanford and gave a very great lecture, and I was immediately drawn to his teaching. And then the pandemic happens, and everything moved online. And then because of the Bhakti community and all the work that J.M. Prabhu and Pavani Mataji did, I was able to be given an environment with a lot of help. And there are classes and associations every day from Monday, Wednesday, and I think I also joined on Friday. And then the weekend, I am able to come to the temple both Saturday and Sunday. And I think my spiritual journey won't be the same without all the helps of the devotees, and I will feel intimidated to see people who do not look like me, but I don't feel any in this family. So I really appreciate all the loving that all the devotees and Vaisesika Prabhu and Guru Ma give to me. Hare Krishna.
Now we will have Chuck, who will share his experience.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. My name is Chuck Easley. I live with Lije on the Stanford campus, where I work as a professor. I came across the Bhakti community initially because of one of my PhD students who gave me a copy of the Bhagavad Gita, and we started attending the Stanford Conscious Living programs on campus. And then from there, we got connected to the Bhakti community and the online sessions on Mondays and Thursdays, where we had a chance to go deeper into the teachings and discuss. And we were just really struck by the pure kind-heartedness of the community. So in the future, my prayer, my hope is just that we continue to be lucky enough to be in the association of devotees. Thank you all. Hare Krishna.
So thank you, Shirley, Vicky, Lijay, and Chuck for sharing experience. And there are many more who have made progress, and we are really thankful to all the devotees, Vaishnavas, buddies, who encouraged them to make this progress. So we can bring back the slides, please. Slides back. I know we are, I think, I do want to leave maybe 5 minutes for Q&A, so I'll quickly skim through the remaining slides. I'm just waiting for the slides to come up, and I'll walk through as soon as they are up. What is that?
Tim just walked in.
Tim, is it okay if you can just give a minute reflection? Sorry.
Come up.
Yeah, come.
On Bhakti community? Oh, thank you. I'll share really briefly about my experience in Bhakti community. I received a Bhagavad Gita on my door a couple of years back, and fortunately, Kautuk was my neighbor, so he took me under his wing, read with me every day, chanted, taught me how to chant, brought me prasadam. Still to this day, he looks after me very nicely, and he's become a really good friend of mine. And then, future for Krishna consciousness, hopefully initiation someday, and also to develop a sincere attitude for service, a connection with Krishna, and then also a better relationship with all of the devotees. But I still have a long way to go, and that's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim, for the impromptu experience sharing our Bhakti community. So I'm just waiting for the slides to come. I'll give it another second or two. I know, yeah. So as we make progress, as Maharaj always says, what we measure, we can make progress. Towards that end, every MSF, we have 8 MSF every year where we offer the book.
You gotta say what MSF.
Sorry?
Don't use jargon. MSF means.
Yeah. So there is a monthly Sankirtan festival. There are 8 festivals we celebrate throughout the year, where all the books we have distributed during that festival, for example, Ram Navami or Gaur Purnima, what devotees do go out and they distribute books. So we collect them, and we share we offer the book points to Prabhupada at the altar of Prabhupada, along with offering the book points of book distribution. We also offer the progress we have made in Bhakti community, and which we measure using what we call as VSL, which is Vaishnava Sangalava, which measures how many times a newcomer has come in association with a Vaishnava through a devotional service class. So we do have technical difficulties, yeah. So we do have goals for the year for different teams. So we have a Silicon Valley team, Comunidad Bhakti team, which is a Bhakti community for Spanish-speaking people, Seattle team. So for each of them, there are goals, and we measure the goals, and we actually track how much we have progressed, how many VSLs or Vaishnava Sangha Lavas we have collected, and we offer it at the altar of Prabhupada at every monthly Sankirtan festival, along with how many newcomers were able to get benefit from it. And as I mentioned, we do have Bhakti community for Spanish-speaking people as well, which is led by His Grace Prema Rupa Madhav Prabhu and Prema Rupini Madhavi Mataji, and they have been making excellent progress, so we are really thankful to them. So the attempt of this program was just to give a teaser to you, so you have an overview of what the Bhakti community has done and how it has inspired newcomers. And if you would like to learn more, please shoot a note to hi@bhakticommunity.com, or send a text or WhatsApp message to there, and would love to get in a call with you and explain how we can bring Bhakti community to your temple or your community closer to your home. So if you like, we can take a Q&A, Maharaj.
Yeah. Kennedy, come up really quick. You got 30 seconds.
So yeah, these are all impromptu people who are coming, so we're just giving them.
Hare Krishna. Welcome.
Put the Zoom back on. Oh, okay. Ramananda, put the Zoom back on, please. This is Bhakti Kennedy. Go ahead, please.
Hare Krishna. I joined Bhakti community at the very beginning of my journey back in November of 2022, so about 15 months ago, though check my math. It has been an absolute whirlwind and an incredible experience of coming into myself, my authentic self, with a community. The spiritual journey is something that is tumultuous and human and absolutely wonderful, but it can be frightening to do on your own. And Bhakti community has offered the space to go through this philosophy of love and devotion and gratitude and compassion with a group of like-minded individuals. The range of speakers, the range of topics, everything is practical, applicable, and out of this world. It's amazing that you can step into this once, and then suddenly for me, I realize I've gone over 100 times now. You turn a corner and you have no idea what life's going to bring you, and I turned a corner and I found this. And my life is forever changed. I'm not saying that these are the results you will see necessarily, but suddenly I have less anxiety. I have a tool that actually helps me work through major mental health issues. I have a tool that when life gets difficult, I'm still smiling. You know, there's things that you can't buy in life, and a community like this gives them to you on a silver platter and asks nothing in return. Showing up for yourself means showing up with people like this. You know, we're not meant to go through this life alone, and Bhakti community has taught me that I not only don't have to go through it alone, but I can be my own champion in it. And I can do things that not only benefit myself, but benefit the people in my own life. I've even seen wonderful results in happiness and joy and less stress in my own family members who don't attend. So when you show up for yourself, you show up for everybody.
Now we have about 5 minutes for some questions, comments. We need a little human interaction from the Zoom room.
Yeah, we open that up for the Zoom room as well if there's some questions. Madam Gopal, you can lead.
I just mentioned that our philosophy of book distribution and the cultivation of new devotees are the same thing. They're not two things, they're one thing. Therefore, when we offer reiteration, when we offer the results of our book distribution, we simultaneously or contiguously offer the results of the Bhakti community activities. And we see this as being vital because it's a first touch, and we're meeting some of the most sincere people we've ever met in the world being out on book distribution. And then when there's a place for them to come immediately and have association, then it makes it a holistic approach to the outreach. Please go ahead with questions. We just have a few minutes left.
There's wonderful comments as well. Kusha Devi from ISKCON Hawaii says the newcomers are very inspiring and enlivened to hear. Also inspiring, a number of devotees have mentioned that the measuring part and the tracking part, that's how you can track your progress, is measuring. It seems like an obvious thing, but it's not obviously done. And the fact that you're doing it so wonderfully is extremely enlivening, inspiring, and something the devotees can take home today for sure. There's a question here from Siki Mahiti. Is it possible for those of us who don't live in your community to send new people to join your online Sangha?
That's a great question, and thank you for asking that question. Bhakti community definitely.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Bhakti community is given its online platform. Everyone dials in. So we have several people dialing in from East Coast. We have people dialing from Canada, London, even Australia. So yes, if you don't have temple, please, you can introduce Bhakti community. I do have bookmarks, so if you're interested in, like along with books, if you want to give these bookmarks to them so that they can keep track, it's a very nice short bookmark which has all the program overview. and they can use it to track when they are reading books. And this also has sign-up link to Bhakti community. So I can ship it to your community or your temple. Please let us know, and you can hand it over, and they can join online
I'd
programs.
just like to add also that it's franchisable. That means that if you want to take the infrastructure that we have, the digital infrastructure, the intellectual property that we've developed, which isn't ours, it's parampara, I hope, and utilize it, then that's also available too. There's just tiny little bit of profit sharing, because if there is any profit, but we've done that over various geographical locations. People are taking up Bhakti community, and they use the infrastructure and they use the process, but they have their separate customized program because they already have a cultivation program, but they just want a little more support and infrastructure.
Yeah, so we do have a Bhakti community partner coordinator as well, who helps partner on board, and we are happy to jump on a call and explain or work with the partner to bring you on board. That was a great question.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful question. And please make a note on the chat as well. If you have a hard time remembering about Bhakti community, where you'll find it, just go to bhakticommunity.com. One word, very easy to remember, bhakticommunity.com. You'll get all the information there, and you can order your bookmarks as well. Thank you very much. Now let's see. There's some more questions over here. There's some comments. One comment, Leela Shakti says, yes, yes, yes. Hearts. Very good. Nice comment. Thomas Argol said, every book is a seed, and you have created an expert model for cultivating, watering, and protecting that seed within a community of support and spiritual formation. Very inspiring. Okay, and Gopi Gita says, so incredible, perfect start to these meetings, and so grateful that the focus is on developing relationships first. That was very inspiring to see that. Focus on relationship first before everything else, and then everything else comes in naturally. Simheshwar Prabhu says, very inspiring, amazing initiative. So our obeisances on behalf of all the attendees to you, Vaisesika Prabhu, and your team, and everybody's very proud of the ISV team. Is a tip of the spear in creating amazing communities and pushing the envelope in how we can go in touching hearts, friends raising, and so on. Thank you very much.
And just as a disclaimer, none of the speakers today were paid. They came here on their own volition. Thank you very much. All glories to the leaders of North America and Sankirtan. Let's please give us your association more and more. We are your humble servants. Vanchakalpataruscha kripasanabhe vishapatitanam bhavanibhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Gaur Premanande Hari Haribo. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Praise Vaisesika Prabhu ki jai. Haribol.
Haribol.
Thank you very much. So what a wonderful way to kick off this
We're out? You sure? Okay. We're going to have Guru Puja now. So because we're going to have Guru Puja and then we're going to sit back down again, we'll leave the rug, we'll make some space because the seats are hard to negotiate around, so maneuver around, I should say, and we'll all stand up to have the Guru Puja, and then we'll have a short class. Okay? So let's rearrange. Namasheshtam manamapi shachiputram atra sarupam. Shirupam tasya grajam urupari maturim goshtavatim. Radha kundam girivaramoho radhika madhavasham. Prapto yasya pratita kripaya shri gurun tam natosmi. He Guru Jnanadadina Bandho Swananda Data Karanaika Sindho Vrindavana Sinahitavata Prasida Radha Pranaya Prachara. He Kinvando Karanaika Sindho Kuru Prasadam Mayamanda Mudhe Laksha Parade Bahupapagade Tat pada padmestu matishta Krishne Naivo payantya pachikim kavayastavesha Rama yushapi kridam ridamudas maranta Yontar bahistanu vratam ashubham badundvan Acharya chaitya vapusha swagatim yanakti. Without serving the representative of Krishna, nobody can approach Krishna. I bow down to the beautiful lotus feet of my spiritual master, by whose causeless mercy I have obtained the supreme holy name, the divine mantra, the service of the son of Shachi Mata, the association of Srila Swarup Damodar, Rupa Goswami and his older brother Sanatan Goswami, the supreme abode of Mathura, the blissful abode of Vrindavan, the divine Radha Kund and Govardhan Hill, and the desire within my heart for the loving service of Shri Radhika and Madhava in Vrindavan. O spiritual master, O giver of divine wisdom, O friend of the fallen, you are the giver of your own bliss, and you are the only ocean of mercy. Although dwelling in Vrindavan, you have descended for the welfare of fallen souls like myself, and you are preaching the divine love of Radha from Krishna. Please be kind upon me. O friend of the lowly, O Gurudev, you are the only ocean of mercy. I am a dull fool and have committed hundreds of thousands of offenses. I have fallen into a dense myriad of sins. Therefore grace me with your mercy, so that my mind may be fixed on your lotus feet and on Shri Krishna. O my Lord, transcendental poets and experts in spiritual science could not fully express their indebtedness to you, even if they were endowed with a long lifetime of Brahma, for you appear in two features, externally as the Acharya and internally as the Supersoul, to deliver a living being by directing them how to come to you. The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we maintain your devotional service. I bow to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. Our only wish is to have our consciousness purified by the word emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens our darkened eyes and fills our hearts with transcendental knowledge. He is our Lord, birth after birth. From him ecstatic prema emanates. By him ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor and the Lord master of the devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. Your fame is spread all over the three worlds. Shri Guru Charanda Padma Bhakti Sadma. Mando Muisavadana Hare Krishna, Premanande Hari. And now we're going to reconfigure to have a Bhagavatam class. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. So make it nice and neat, even though it's a Formula One racing turnaround. Geometrically perfect, please, with the rectangles. Can you grab my bag? Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Gopi Janna Ballabha Girivaradari, Yashoda Nandana Raja Jana Ranjana, Yashoda Nandana Raja Jana Ranjana, Yashoda Nandana Raja Jana Ranjana, Yashoda Nandana Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskritya. Find my book. Naram chaiva narotamam. Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udhiraye. We're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 33, Activities of Kapila, and it's text number 6. The translation is, to say nothing of the spiritual advancement of persons who see the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face. Even a person born in a family of dog-eaters immediately becomes eligible to perform Vedic sacrifices if he once utters the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or chants about him, hears about his pastimes, offers him obeisances, or even remembers him. Purport. Herein, the spiritual potency of chanting, hearing, or remembering the holy name of the Supreme Lord is greatly stressed. Rupa Goswami has discussed the sequence of sinful activities of the conditioned soul, and he has established in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu that those who engage in devotional service become freed from the reactions of all sinful activities. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. The Lord says that he takes charge of one who surrenders unto him, and he makes him immune to all reactions to sinful activities. If by chanting the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead one becomes so swiftly cleared of all reactions to sinful activities, then what is to be said of those persons who see him face to face? Another consideration here is that persons who are purified by the process of chanting and hearing become immediately eligible to perform Vedic sacrifices. Generally, only a person who is born in a family of Brahmanas, who has been reformed by the 10 kinds of purificatory processes, and who is learned in Vedic literatures, is allowed to perform the Vedic sacrifices. But here the word sadhya, immediately, is used, and Sridhar Swami also remarks that one can immediately become eligible to perform Vedic sacrifices. A person born in a family of the low caste, which is accustomed to eat dogs, is so positioned due to his past sinful activities. But by chanting or hearing once in pureness, or in an offenseless manner, he is immediately relieved of the sinful reactions. Not only is he relieved of the sinful reactions, but he immediately achieves the result of all purificatory processes. Taking birth in the family of a Brahmana is certainly due to pious activities in one's past life. But still a child who is born in a family of a Brahmana depends on his further reformation upon initiation into acceptance of a sacred thread and many other reformatory processes. But a person who chants the holy name of the Lord, even if born in a family of chandalas, dog-eaters, does not need reformation. Simply by chanting Hare Krishna, he immediately becomes purified and becomes as good as the most learned Brahmana. Sridhar Swami especially remarks in this connection, Anena pujatvam lakshite. Some caste Brahmanas remark that by chanting Hare Krishna, purification begins. Of course, that depends on the individual process of chanting, but this remark of Sridhar Swami's is completely applicable if one chants the holy name of the Lord without offense, for he immediately becomes more than a Brahmana. As Sridhar Swami says, pujatvam, he immediately becomes as respectable as the most learned Brahmana and can be allowed to perform Vedic sacrifices. If simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord one becomes sanctified instantly, then what can be said of those persons who see the Supreme Lord face to face and who understand the descent of the Lord, as Devahuti understands Kapila Dev? Usually initiation depends on the bona fide spiritual master who directs the disciple. If he sees that a disciple has become competent and purified by the process of chanting, he offers the sacred thread to the disciple just so that he will be recognized as 100% equal with a Brahmana. This is also confirmed in the Hari Bhakti Vilas by Sri Sanatan Goswami. As a base metal, like bell metal, can be changed into gold by a chemical process, any person can similarly be changed into a Brahmana by Diksha Vidana, the initiation process. It is sometimes remarked that by chanting, the chanting process, one begins to purify himself and can take birth in his next life in a Brahmana family and then be reformed. But at this present moment, even those who are born in the best Brahmin families are not reformed, nor is there any certainty that they are actually born of Brahmana fathers. Formerly, the Garbhadana reformatory system was prevalent, but at the present moment, there is no such Garbhadana or seed-giving ceremony. Under these circumstances, no one knows if a man is factually born of a Brahmana father. Whether one has acquired the qualification of a Brahmin depends on the judgment of a bona fide spiritual master. He bestows upon the disciple the position of a Brahmana by his own judgment. When one is accepted as a Brahmana in the sacred thread ceremony under the Panchatric system, then he is Dvija, twice born. This is confirmed by Sanatana Goswami, Dvijatvam Jayate. By the process of initiation by the spiritual master, a person is accepted as a Brahmana in his purified state of chanting the holy name of the Lord. He then makes further progress to become qualified, a qualified Vaishnava, which means that the Brahminical qualification is already acquired. I offer my respectful obeisances to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada and to all the assembled devotees. Vanchakalpadurvascha kripasindabhevacha patitanam pavanibhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Are there any questions? Yes. Oh, is there any air available? There's a lot of air outside. I'm not sure about in here, though. It's very low quality. We need it for our brains to function, as well as other organs. Please go ahead.
So Maharaj, I was wondering if you could explain a little bit more or elaborate a little bit more on seeing the Lord face to face. What does that mean, considering that in Mahabharata we read that Duryodhana also was seeing Krishna face to face like that?
First of all, in the Madhurya Kadambini, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes the various stages of advancement in devotional service, beginning with Shraddha and ending with Prema. And he describes how at every level there's a diminishment of any obstacles that were created by some kind of offense from previous lives. And even in the bhava stage, and until one sees the Lord face to face, then one, he says, can be assured everything's cleared. And in regard to those who saw Krishna face to face, there's an appreciating capacity amongst those who come to see Krishna face to face. Krishna is available to everyone, but according to their capacity to appreciate him, then he'll be revealed to one degree or another. As we read in the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the number of personalities who didn't recognize Krishna are legion. For instance, Pondraka was a devotee of Lord Shiva, but somehow or other he got a benediction from Shiva to pretend that he was Narayan. And his foolish ministers told him, no, you are Narayan. And when he saw Krishna, he told Krishna that, well, actually he wrote him a letter and he said, when I meet you, I want you to hand over your disc and your club and all those symbols that actually belong to me. And Krishna told the messenger to tell him, yeah, I'll give them to you. Maybe not in the way you expect. And we find that Narakasura and Shalva Shishupal. All of these personalities had no appreciating capacity for Krishna, because they were envious of him. Therefore, Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmanyadavritam anukulyena krishnanushilanam bhaktir uttama. So there's a way in which one gradually has to become purified and then come to the point of performing favorable devotional service to the Lord. The more one's attitude towards the Lord is favorable, Krishna says, Ye yatha mam prapadyante, tamstathai bhajamyam, that I reciprocate in kind. And if somebody ignores Krishna altogether, as is mentioned in the beginning of the 7th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, when Parikshit says, "Are you sure the Lord's partial? It really seems like he favors the demigods." And Shukadeva says, no, actually, he is favorable to everybody. It's just that the demigods have a favorable attitude towards him, so they're able to take advantage of his mercy. Just as much as if you have a class, isn't it, Professor Chuck? And you have a student that's more attentive and open to hearing what you have to say, that they seem to do better. Yes? In the same way, those like Duryodhana, who couldn't appreciate Krishna, evidenced by the fact that when Krishna said, I'm not going to fight in Kurukshetra, and he gave a choice to both Arjuna and Duryodhana, and he said, you can have all my armies, or you can have me, and I'm not going to fight. And Duryodhana said, I'll take the armies. And when Arjuna was asked, I'll take Krishna. So he had a different perspective of Krishna, even though they're seeing the same person. Duryodhana thought, well, what good is he? I want the armies. So because of their attitude towards Krishna and mistaking him to be an ordinary person, they don't see him in the same way. And so the other evidence is that everybody says, Shukadeva Goswami, even all the demons got benefited in the end because they kept saying, Krishna, Krishna, I hate Krishna, I hate Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Like Shishupal from the very time he was a baby, when he could talk baby talk. How old is that usually? What's the first babble, the age that a baby can babble? 1 year, then he would, I'm Krishna. All the way up to the last second before he was killed by Krishna. But he kept saying Krishna, 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 and somehow they kept him in touch with Krishna. Even Bondraka, who is such a fool that he thought he was Narayan and he believed all his friends. And Shiva gave him some stopgap benediction that he could kind of look like Narayan. And even he got liberation because at least he was thinking of Krishna. But Vena, says Shukadeva Goswami, he didn't get anything because somehow or other he artfully avoided Krishna, not even blaspheming Krishna or thinking of him. And he just said, there is no God, he didn't even say Krishna, there is no God, and I'm God, the king's God. Don't you know that? Then the Brahmanas killed him. So it has to do with one's own attitude towards him, that one can take advantage to see him take advantage. And that's indicated also in this purport, because Prabhupada does mention that it's the quality of the chanting that counts. I'm right now writing some ideas, thoughts about 4 verses that Prabhupada, not verses, but I'm considering them verses. They're instructions he gave about japa. And on one of them, he says that the holy name is equally beneficial to everyone, 100% the same. It's just a matter of the chanter and whether the chanter is covered by the 10 offenses or not. And once the 10 offenses are cleared, then you get the same access. And similarly in this purport, this mercy of Krishna, which is available through Yanama, Deha, Shravanada, Kirtana, hearing, chanting, remembering, so forth, it's dependent, he said, on the quality of the chanting. So Prabhupada even mentioned here, if you chant without offense, then you get the complete benefit. If not, then you do get benefit, but it's indirect or it's diffused and it takes longer. Melanie.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Prabhu, in that purport, there was a section which mentioned that if you're not born in a Brahmana family, you can start your devotional service, but that's a beginning. But does it mean that one has to again take in a Brahmana family to perfect their chanting? And Sridhar Swami's comment was a little confusing. If you can please elaborate.
No, that's very straightforward. That was the argument of people who are misguided. They say, by chanting Hare Krishna, you start your process, therefore you have the benefit of taking birth in a Brahmana family. And this is the opinion of the smartest. And I've experienced it directly in India. I was with my godbrother living in Jagannath Puri for a while. And we walked to we were in front of the Jagannath temple. And one of the Mahants from the temple came up and he said, unless you take birth again in a Brahmin family, you cannot come in the temple, which is their idea that it's by birth that you're qualified. And what Sridhar Swami and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and all the other acharyas concur on is that by the process of chanting Hare Krishna, that's what this verse means, and the next one, then you become qualified, because the chanting of Hare Krishna destroys not only your previous karmas, as mentioned by Rupa Goswami in the Bhakti Samrita Sindhu, when he describes why it is that devotional service frees you from distress when you first start it, is because he says that aparada palam papam kutam bijam palon mukham kramenaiva praliyante Vishnu bhakti ratatmanam. Because all your previous sinful reactions to karma are destroyed by the chanting of Hare Krishna. And in his Namashtakam, as you know, better than most people in the world, Rupa Goswami also says that the chanting of Hare Krishna destroys not only those stages of karma that are subtle and developing, but also the prarabdha, which means the present body becomes transformed. You're no longer a dog eater or whatever. There are lots of different designations. Kirata hunandar pulinda pulkasha bhirashumva yavana kasadaya yene chapapa yada pashaya shaya shudyanti tasmai pravishnave namaha. Shukadev Goswami says those are all names of people who are far flung outside any kind of spiritual practice. And he says even those people become purified by the power of Lord Vishnu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu confirmed in his discussion with Haridas Thakur and Sanatana Goswami that the body of a devotee, even the practitioner, is no longer a material body. Because one who's chanting Hare Krishna, then even their prarabdha becomes transformed. That's the essence of the argument, because there's a way in which if you still have this sinful reaction, then you're not qualified to do these kinds of puja. You have to become a brahmana. But these verses are saying once you chant Hare Krishna and become a Vaishnava, then you're no longer designated in that way, that you have that designation of being a dog eater or anything to do with this material world. And those drishtai sabhava janitar vapushashta doshar na prakritaf amiha bhaktidanasya pashyat gangam nasang na kalabudbuddha payana pankar brahma dravapama bhagachiti niradharmai. Rupa Goswami confirms in the Upadeshamrita that you shouldn't see a Vaishnavi from a materialistic point of view. Whatever body they were born into, they've transcended. So you don't have to take birth again. That's why you'll notice that even if somebody comes from the family of cannibals, fine young cannibals, and chants Hare Krishna, then they become eligible to perform these rituals that are reserved only for brahmanas. And then Prabhupada points out that and actually Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur started this practice. It was in the time of Rupa and Sanatana Goswami, when somebody became a Vaishnava, they would strip themselves of any designation of the Varnashrama, showing that they're not connected to the Varnashrama. And that includes the Brahmin's thread, because in India, every young boy would get a Vedic initiation from the father at a certain age. And then they wear a thread the rest of their life. Whether they chant on it or not, that's another thing. But still is prevalent in the culture, and everyone would wear their thread around like, hey, I'm from a Brahmin family, but what's your quality? And have you been actually reformed by just being born into it and receiving an empty mantra from your father who's not following it either? And therefore, those who became Vaishnavas would then take off their thread and say that we have nothing to do with Brahmanism, it's part of the Varnashrama designation. But then when Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur began, when he was giving initiation, then he would give the thread back if those had taken it off or those never had it, to show, and it was obviously more relevant in Indian society than it is in America. They're like, what's with the string, man? There it meant that you've taken Vaishnava initiation, you're already a Brahmin. It's included in that. That was part of the big argument that was going on at the time. They wanted to kill Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. They tried to assassinate him because he was teaching that this is not required that you're born in a Brahmin family, and it's a tendency in most religious systems that everyone wants to close ranks and say, like, only these people can do it. And basically Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, that's not supported in the Srimad Bhagavatam. This is one of the verses in which it's not supported. That says, you chant under the guidance of a spiritual master and you're eligible according to the spiritual master's consideration to take the Brahminical initiation and perform Vedic sacrifice even. Did I answer your question? Okay, there's many more. You two were first, starting with Brajaras Bhavana.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Are you spiritual scientists in the back coming up with Shastra Sar? Are you spiritual scientists in the back coming up with new pramanams? Okay, that's good. I thought you may be reminding the Shastra. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. In the purport, it was mentioned that one becomes immediately qualified to perform Vedic sacrifices after chanting. And this concept of immediately, or these other benedictions that we see in the Srimad Bhagavatam and other books, where someone reaps some benefit, for example, going back to Godhead, seeing the Lord face to face, and so on. There's many different kinds of benedictions that are there. And the premise, or the way you can get those benedictions, they seem quite simple, like whether it's reading a chapter, chanting the holy name, and so on. How can we understand that? Because, of course, at least I don't feel it happening in real time. So when do those become satisfied, and are there other requirements that are unspoken?
Regarding the diminishment of past sinful activities, Srila Rupa Goswami mentions a section from the Shastra that says, when one puts a needle, and this would be relevant to the garland makers in our group, who, by the way, I think are the best in the world. Hare Krishna. That if you take 1,000 lotus petals and you put a needle through them, it appears that it's going through all at once. And in one way, from one perspective, you say, like, the needle went through. It just happened. It was like one thing. But if you were to analyze it a little more carefully, you'd say it went through one at a time. And kramenaiva praliyante. There's a way in which the verse I just quoted, aparada palam papam, kutam bijam palon mukam kramenaiva. Krama means step by step. There's a step-by-step understanding of the prarabdha, or the various stages are destroyed from subtle to gross, or you could say they're destroyed from gross and then subtle. Whatever it may be, it happens so rapidly compared to the amount of time we've been here in the material world that it's said it happens simultaneously with the chanting. However, it does depend on the quality of one's chanting. There is a way in which, as the quintessential teaching on this comes from the 6th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the story of Ajamil, which Shukadeva Goswami recounts. He had heard it from other sages, and then he recounted it to Parikshit Maharaj, and he tells, of course, you all know the story of Ajamil, who was a dutiful Brahmin, but then he watched YouTube and he fell down. And the next thing that happened was he found himself again in sinful life. And then because of his past pious activities, he named his son Narayan, name of God. And he was calling his youngest son. He had children even when he was in his 80s or 90s. And he had just lost it. He let himself go, basically. But he had the holy name because he kept calling his young son, and especially at the time when he was about to leave his body, he panicked. And he called out to his son, Narayan. And it did say in one place that he called several times, and in a lecture, Prabhupada says, who said several times? One time, sufficient. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments on this. He gives an extensive commentary, which Prabhupada puts at the end of the chapter as additional notes. And it refers to a verse in which Vishwanath gave pages and pages of commentary in which he describes the potency of the holy name. And he says that one may ask how it is that Ajamil, even after he chanted Narayan, because obviously he said it, his son was there, and he kept saying, oh, Narayan, bring me some juice, Narayan, here, eat this, there's this exchange going on with Narayan. And he says that some people then ask, well, how is it that he kept on doing sinful activities and wasn't completely reformed immediately? And Vishwanath Chakravarti answers, he says, it only appeared that he was going on with his sinful life because actually it was like a snake whose teeth had been taken out. And if you see sometimes when you go around Govardhan Hill or any other place, when everyone comes out to beg during the festival times, there's some people, usually kids, and they'll have a basket with a cobra in it. And they'll bring it over to you and go, here, check it out. And they're like, wow, cobra. But those cobras don't have any teeth. And so there's a way in which he said, it appeared the snake was biting, it appeared he was still doing sinful activities, but there's a way in which they had no effect on him because he was already indemnified by the process of chanting the holy name of the Lord. That doesn't apply to people who then take advantage of that and say, well, because I'm indemnified, I'll just go on sinning. That's an offense to the holy name. But if one is innocent and chants it the way he did, then that purification is there. And the other point that's extremely important is that and it goes back to the analogy of the lotus flowers, lotus petals being strung, being pierced by a needle, is that it's a process. There's a process of purification. For instance, initiation is described by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur not as an event, but a process. He calls the Pancha Samskar. There's a way in which there's a gradual reformation of the consciousness, starting with tapa, which Bhaktivinoda Thakur says means a deliberate turning away from the material world, a sense that I don't want to participate in the way that I did before. And then Pandra, which means now identify myself as a Vaishnav. Urdhva Pundra, put on tilak and so forth, and neck beads. And then there's the next step, which is that one takes nama, or the name, one makes a vow to chant the name, and then also one takes a new name. And then there's mantra, one takes diksha, or the diksha mantras. And then there's deity worship. These 5 he mentions, panchasamskar. So although we say it's initiation, it's still the petals are there and it's a process. So it's at once immediate, but also kramenaiva, in steps that it takes place. And just as an aside, the Artavad, which is number 5, this comes from, of course, all the offenses come from the Padma Purana. There's one verse in the Padma Purana, it's in a discussion with Narada and one of the 4 Kumaras when they're talking about what's the best way to make advancement in devotional service, and then Narada gives a verse which has the 10 offenses is actually one verse, but then we dissect it and we put it into 10, actually 11. I don't know why you just call it the 11, to be inattentive. Why does that get left out? In any case, Artavad comes from Purva Mimamsa, where there are statements in the Shastra that say, if you perform the Purnahuti, for instance, the last part of a fire yajna, then by the Purnahuti, then all your desires are fulfilled. So then Jaimini says, who's the purveyor of the Purvamimamsa, and then he says, so does that mean all your desires fulfilled for eternity because you did one Purnahuti? He said, no, that's what it means is in that context. Only in this context are all your desires fulfilled. The sankalpa, the goal you made for this yajna is fulfilled when you do the Purnahuti. Not all desires for all time, that's called Artavad. He called it Artavad. And the Mimamsakas call it Artavad, which means that it's an exaggeration. And they apply it to many things. That's Artavad, that's how to put it in context. So when we have the 10 offenses, we have number 5 and say, this is not Artavad. This is not one of these things where when you say Hare Krishna and then you're purified of all your sinful reactions. It's not an exaggeration, they're saying. Never in relationship with the Lord, because it's directly Krishna. And He'll purify all aspects of one's existence by coming in contact. So what to do with those statements? To understand them in the context that I just gave. Does that help? Oh, good. Yes.
Thank you, Maharaj, for the nice class. I was just thinking about just reading the statement in the Nectar of Instruction, where Prabhupada writes in the preface that advancement in Krishna consciousness depends on the attitude of the follower. And then we see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explaining what attitude is required in the 3rd verse of Shishtashtaka. Can you please throw some light on how that can actually help us in, or how can we develop that kind of attitude?
How can we develop that kind of attitude? He's referring to the 3rd verse, Trinad api suni chena toror api suhishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari, that one should be very humble. And how do we develop humility? One is to come to grips with who we are and what our existential situation is. The false ego tells me, according to Shukadeva Goswami, Deha patra kalatra desha atmasaini sasatsapi tesham pramata nidhanam pashanapina pashati. There's a kind of illusion that I'm in, that I'm my own man, or nirmana moha jita sangha dosha. Nirmana, this is from Gita. Krishna says nirman, don't be nirman, be nirman. Nir means without, and man means I'm the man. Nirman. And one could read the Srimad Bhagavatam, for instance, the forest of material enjoyment, and see in the forest of material enjoyments describe the existential situation of the soul who wanders away from Krishna's protection and then becomes lost in the forest. Have you ever been lost in the forest? You ever been lost in a city? Ever been lost anywhere? Without GPS, right? It's very scary, and the whole experience here in the material world is scary, except that I try to claim that everything's fine. So if we can glimpse for a moment our tenuous situation here in the material world, and that we come to realize I don't have any other protector. In fact, I was just reading in the 3rd canto the other day where Prabhupada says, it's really difficult to tell your problems to anybody because most people can't understand the extent of your suffering. And at that very time, I was suffering some mental, what should I say? I was suffering mentally. And so when I read that, I thought, yeah, because I was looking for somebody to tell. It's like, I can't tell that person, he's suffering worse than me. I can't tell this person because they don't care. And I was like, going down the list, you know. And then Prabhupada said, but Krishna, he's the Paramatma, he can understand everything about you, and he knows why you're suffering, what it come to be, and just tell him. So I was chanting japa at the time, and I thought, I'm just going to tell Krishna. And give Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And it really helped. Why did I say that? Because we are in a tough situation, and we can become humble by just realizing that we're in a tough situation and nobody can help us but Krishna. And just admit that you need help. That's a kind of humility. Like, I'm helpless. My friend Satyadev Prabhu likes to start his japa. I got in the habit of doing this when traveling with him by, just breathing for a few minutes and realizing that I'm helpless. Just realize that any breath could be my last breath. Nothing's guaranteed. I'm not entitled to anything. This engenders a sense of humility. Okay, yes, Kanka, and then coming to Yashoda. And
Also,
now I'm going to give 1 minute answers because we're coming down to the last 5 minutes.
Okay, this is
And we should put a timer on the screen. Can you do that? Count down from 1 minute. Put a 1 minute timer on.
Also,
okay, go.
Also, Srila Prabhupada said to pray to Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda because it makes everything much easier.
Wow, what great advice. I like that way better than my answer. So remember Lord Chaitanya?
And wait, there's one more.
Please.
There's a prayer, please, Lord Nityananda, cool my burning mind with the moon-like rays of your lotus feet.
Thank you very much. That's the real answer, whoever asked it. Okay. Okay, time for a couple more at 1 minute each. Yashoda and then Bhakti Tim.
Hare Krishna. May I share a quick reflection here on this verse?
A minute or less.
Sure.
Go for it.
So yes, Manta Siddhi, I was just talking about this verse and the importance of the holy name, how it is so potent to purify everybody in the world, regardless of what state they are in. Oma Pavitra Pavitro Va Sarva Avastham, right? So we have right now an open invite from one of our neighbors who are arranging a 12 hours continuous chanting session of the holy name, but that comes with some strings attached. You should be this, and not this. And also restricting ladies from their monthly biological cycle. And we were just talking like, the holy name is so powerful, it's purifying to on every state of every person. And people just add their own imaginations and try to keep it away from general masses and restrict it to certain small group of people. But then Bhagavatam here clearly just breaks down all of those artificial strings.
It was Speaker Lord Chaitanya who went out in public and just said, everybody chant. It's available to the masses. Yeah, nice point. Okay, Bhakti Tim.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for the wonderful verse today. I just have a small, silly story about chanting and being relieved of material miseries. I take the Caltrains, not because of pleasure, only out of convenience. It's not fun or on time, really, but it takes me to my work. So I was at the train station. I was like 10 minutes early. So usually I try to get a round in at the train station, 1 round or 2 rounds. And I was 10 minutes early. And so, as we got closer to the time, I was chanting, and then people start to gather around, and most people are on their phones. And there's no shortage, if you've ever been to a train station, of interesting people. So this particular day, I heard a howling sound Oh, my hairs stood up on end. Actually, it was really an uncomfortable kind of sound, and I'd looked, I was still doing my japa, and there was a little old lady coming down right next to the train track where you're not supposed to be walking. She was walking there, and she was howling, and I was like, oh no. And so most people are on their phones, and I was chanting japa, and she was making a beeline right towards me. Oh no. Fortunately, I have my japa bag, and as she got right in my face, she saw Lord Nrsimhadev. There's nothing, not my chanting. My chanting is very offensive. But I think she saw Lord Nrsimhadev, and she wanted nothing to do with that. So she went and she attacked the person next to me, and she was like, of course, she's so small. It wasn't like she was hurting him, but it was definitely causing a lot of uncomfort, and it's like, I don't want anything to do with that. So she was chasing the guy around. I'm chanting my job. I'm watching her. Some guy, he was jumping over the railing to get out away from her, and then she went right by me, and she was the lady like going after that lady, and that lady's running. I'm just going back and forth chanting japa, watching all these people, all this chaos ensuing, and I was like, oh man, I'm so happy I have the holy name, and I don't have to deal with that today. Anyways, that's Hare Krishna.
It kind of reminded me of Indra when he made an offense to Vritrasura, or he killed Vritrasura, even though they told him, the Brahmin said, no, it's not going to be a big deal, but it was. He was being chased everywhere and he had to hide out. But I like your conclusion, and that is that we take shelter of the holy name in all circumstances, even those in which we're find ourselves in danger. We should chant the holy name as our only protection. Apana samsritim goran yanama vivashogranan tata sadyo vimucheta yabhipeti swayambayam. We can become free from all fear by chanting because Krishna is directly there in his name. So that's a good idea. Prabhupada says we should practice saying Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. In many circumstances, devotees, whenever they're in a near accident, they always check themselves. Like, did you say Hare Krishna? Did you say Hare Krishna? What did you say? I said, whoa. Better say Hare Krishna. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Now we have a couple of quick announcements from the Bhakti community and from our book distributors.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you for coming and giving the opportunity to talk about Bhakti community. Bhakti community is an online community which is easily accessible to you all. Whenever you give books, please make sure that you have the newcomers sign up on Bhakti community by going to the website. We have a very simple form, just 3 fields, the name, phone number, and email ID, and then we connect with them and we onboard them onto our online programs. We heard this morning, once they are on the online programs, they start getting used to us. They start getting familiar with us. Then we invite them to our home programs, and then they slowly get integrated with everything else to do with Bhakti. So please invite. We have a lot of programs pipeline throughout the week, in-person programs as well as online programs. So please invite everyone. Hare Krishna.
Haribol.
Hare Krishna. Regarding the Sankirtan announcements, I know there Krishna Sakha Prabhu and Kamalakshi Mataji are on the screen there. They have been traveling for about a month, and they are going to come back this Monday or Tuesday back to Bay Area. And they've been visiting many schools, colleges, and every place. And one thing that I was speaking to Krishna Sakha Prabhu yesterday, and one thing really touched my heart. What he said was that people in Bay Area, they're so much in mode of passion. We stand there asking them, please come take books, please do this, please do that. Nobody shows up at the table. But there are some places which are a little bit away from the mode of passion. In the universities, the students are lining up to take the books because there are only 2 devotees trying to give the books, but there are other people, so they wait in line for them to finish, to talking to them, and then they take the books. So that is such an encouraging part to see that people are there available who want to take books, who are lining up. We just have to know where to find them. And they are doing such a daring act of going out to different places for months and months, staying in a small van and distributing so many books. So I wanted to deeply appreciate Krishna Sakha Prabhu and Kamalakshi Mataji for... And not only that, there is another traveling Sankirtan party, Kautu Karna Prabhu, our brahmachari, resident brahmachari. He's traveling with Bhaktavatar Prabhu. And I was asking, what are you cooking? What are you eating? He said, every day, same menu. There is khichdi, and with sprouts and everything, and there is salad, and there is some juice. And the salad has nuts and whatever these things. And in the morning, there is just oatmeal, one pot meal. And I asked, so you eat the same thing every day? Yes, he said. I said, are you happy? I'm so satisfied. And they distribute books from 9 a.m. to 3:30 or 4 p.m. in the afternoon. And they go back, they chant, they read a little bit, wake up for Mangal Arati. And they have taken membership in the Planet Fitness. There's a Planet Fitness, some gym, a membership. They go there, they take shower. Such an austere life, I was thinking. What he was saying is very blissful. So I was also thinking about him. He's not there. I'm sure he's distributing books somewhere. But these are the experiences that devotees are getting while they are traveling. And we are planning to do more of these traveling Sankirtans. So if you want to travel, you can talk to Krishna Sakha Prabhu or Kautu Karna Prabhu and see if we can get some experience over the summer or something because it's coming up soon, summer. So if you want to get some experience, yes. And we are continuing with our book distribution here, locally as well. The spots here, anybody here who can give the spots? Adinath Prabhu, you want to announce? They go to DMV as well. I saw some scores from DMV.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. We have a few locations. One is Cherry Blossom Festival in Cupertino. It's very nearby. In the previous years, it was very fruitful with a lot of activity, meaning books going out, generous donations, and just an overall fun atmosphere to be. It's in the open park. If you're feeling inspired, you may get in contact with myself and or Satya Sankalpa Prabhu. Please raise your hand. He'll lead a team. And then also Nikunja Nayak Prabhu, please kindly raise your hand also. These two devotees can direct you in where you want to go. And then we also have Berkeley Bay Festival. And then if you want to stay local, Mountain View downtown, the weather is very favorable right now, and it should be moving forward, so people will generally get more active. It's just the nature. And so if you like, you can also join there. If you join Cherry Blossom Festival in Cupertino, there are certain instructions to be followed. Also, you can get in touch with Satya Sankalpa Prabhu for that. Other than that, I'll read one short book distribution quote from Srila Prabhupada, how it's very dear to him, and it helps us to stay in the right mood and remember the mission. Quote, I am glad that you have understood the importance of my books. Therefore, I am stressing it so much. Let everyone take these books. If he simply reads one page, then he is getting something substantial, a real eternal benefit. Or if he hands it over to his friend and he reads one page, the same result is there. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Adinath Prabhu. And please join us in Cupertino, Fremont, or in Tri-Valley for Srimad Bhagavatam distribution. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Today's prasadam was cooked by Kamal Shri Mataji, Ramrati Prabhu, Shama Bhakta Prabhu, Alka Mataji, and Anali Mataji.
Oh, wait. And then also give a little explanation of the importance of prasadam from your own realization in the Shastra.
I would refer to the prasadam prayers as it talks about how the tongue is the most difficult sense to control. And the verse that we recite, Tvayopa Bhukta Shaganda Vasalankar Charchita Uchishta Bojino Dasa Stavamayam Jayamahi, talks about how just by taking the Lord's remnants, whether that's in the form of jewelry, clothing, or prasadam, we will be blissful. So that's something I'm grateful for because I believe that everyone enjoys eating and it's very lucky that we're able to eat transcendentally.
And now say one time when you were especially happy when you took prasadam. If you can remember a festival, a feast, or something simple, some simple prasadam you received somewhere from someone at any time, a personal experience.
I would say that recently I went to Nanda Vinodini Mataji's home in Laguna Beach, and you could taste that the food was made with so much love, and I was very touched by prasad.
Any other announcements? We'd like to say a special prayer for His Grace Sanatan Sundaram Prabhu and for all the assembled devotees. Vanchakalpadrishcha kripasanameva cha patitanam pavanibhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha sharirad vijaja jodendriya tahika jibe pele Vishaya Shagare Dharma Je Jivayati Loba Musi Shri Chaitanya Nikai Mahusade Gopushe Namtani Vaishnave Sabha Punya Vatam Rajan Vishwa Soda Vijay Prasade Sarvadutana Nirasya Vijayate Tatsanate Tasoyate Vipaya Vishta Teta Yopa Vishta Sekanda Dasa Vanka Shasita Urukita Bojino Dasa Savamayam Jainavi Shikshampayushita Bhakti Nitya Madhura Deshta Bhakti Matrena Bhoktavya Natrakava Charana Nadeshaniya Mastaka Nataravina Mastaka Praptamanam Jutam Suster Bhaktaram Hare Abrave Bhagavat Shri Mahaprasad Ki Gaur Premanande Nitai Gaura Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Nitai Gaura Hari Bo Please come take prasadam. Hare Krishna. There's a play today, right? In Sunnyvale, 2 p.m. It's you got to have a ticket, right, to go? For the drama, you got to get a ticket. Ticketmaster or what? What? There's a Google form online. What's the URL? Or is there a? It's posted on ISV Connect. Better get your ticket. Hare Krishna.